Humans are still essential. That's what ChatGPT told me after I asked this question. Are humans more productive than artificial intelligence? Well, if you want to know what ChatGPT said about human productivity, I'll tell you. But first, subscribe to the channel. I'll wait for you. No, I'm joking. Let's continue the video. But first I asked ChatGPT, what do you understand about productivity? I wanted to know. And you want to know the answers? I'm going to read it off to you. And it's interesting because he started by saying this, and I'm going to read it. Human productivity is the ability to create meaningful results by effectively using time, energy, and resources. That's pretty good. I like that he put human productivity, but he went a little further, and I want to, just read it off for you, this points that ChatGPT mentioned about human productivity. Basically, ChatGPT listed 6 key ideas about productivity, and I want you to tell me if you think ChatGPT is right or wrong. I want you to share in the comments. So let's read it off. The first one, ChatGPT said, clarity of purpose. Productivity starts with knowing what matters most. Without clear priorities, people can stay busy but achieve little of value. What do you think? Clarity of purpose. Do you think ChatGPT is right on this one? I think ChatGPT is actually in the right track, because without clarity of purpose, you're just doing things just for the sake of keeping busy. And I mentioned this in a lot of my other videos. There's a big difference between being busy and being productive. So I think on this point, ChatGPT is in the right track. The second point about productivity that ChatGPT mentioned as one of the 6 key points is focus and attention. And listen to this. Concentration on one important task at a time is far more effective than multitasking, which often reduces efficiency and quality. In a recent video that I talked about multitasking, it's very aligned what it's saying right here, that one of the points is focus and attention. Basically, ChatGPT is saying multitasking is not good. Focus on one task at a time. So I'm not going to disagree with this point, okay? The third point from ChatGPT is energy management. And I think this is very interesting. Let's read it off. Productivity depends not only on time, but also on physical and mental energy. We can all agree with that. Sleep, nutrition, exercise, and breaks all play a role in sustaining high performance. Well, this is very basic, but in fact, ChatGPT is very on point with this one. Because I always say in my workshops that productivity depends mainly on 2 things: energy management, which is this point, and your emotional intelligence or your emotional state. Okay, productivity is emotional, and it is also dependent on your energy management. The number 4 point by ChatGPT is systems and habits. Let's read this. Productive people often rely on routines, tools, and processes to reduce decision fatigue and make progress automatic. I didn't quite understand about this make progress automatic, but ChatGPT is very right about routines, relying on tools, and relying on processes to reduce decision fatigue. Decision fatigue, if you don't know what it is that state that your brain gets to basically stuck or in a freeze mode because you have too many decisions to make. You have too many touch points and your brain freezes because you don't know what to do. That's decision fatigue. Okay, a lot of the high performance people, they reduce the number of tasks on a given period, either on a block of time or on a given day, especially to reduce decision fatigue. Because we all know that with less tasks, our brain is going to be less overwhelmed. That's essentially what decision fatigue is. Point number 5 is mindset. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say. A growth-oriented and disciplined mindset. Well, I think he got the growth-oriented by that book from Carol Dweck that talks about growth-oriented mindset. Growth-oriented mindset helps overcome procrastination, distractions, and setbacks. Well, very basic response, but ChatGPT is not wrong about mindset. It starts with a growth-oriented mindset that will help with overcoming procrastination, distractions, and setbacks. Basic, but still, that's pretty useful information. And the last one, number 6, is balance. True productivity also means maintaining well-being. Interesting. If productivity comes at the cost of health or relationships, it becomes unsustainable. Okay, that's very interesting. Basically, what ChatGPT is saying that doesn't matter, if you're being ultra productive at the cost of relationships, at the cost of your health and wellness. I 100% agree with this point. In fact, if you want to focus on high productivity and being a productive person, one of the things that you have to focus the most for sustainability is balance. And then ChatGPT kind of closes out with this phrase. In short, human productivity, I love that saying human productivity, is about working smarter, not just harder, aligning actions with values and goals while managing attention, energy, and habits effectively. It's a good conclusion. And like I said, even though those are some basic points, I think ChatGPT is not wrong here, addressing the most important things about productivity. Now, I poked a little further with this question that I asked right after. Do you think you can be more productive than a human? That was my question to ChatGPT. And this is how it responded initially. It depends on the task. Interesting. Let's see this. For many information processing tasks, I'm faster and more consistent than a human. For judgment, real-world action, long-term responsibility, and motivation, I am not. And those limits matter a lot for quote-unquote real productivity. ChatGPT, put that on quotation. Real productivity. So very interesting. Let's read that again. For judgment, real-world action, long-term responsibility, and motivation, I am not better than a human. Tell me in the comments, what do you think about this response? I agree with ChatGPT that especially for reasoning, ChatGPT or any AI won't ever replace humans. And then ChatGPT continued by responding where ChatGPT thinks it can be faster or better than a human. And I'll give you just a few examples here. Scale, speed and scale. Yeah, I kind of agree with that because ChatGPT can summarize better and faster, process information and data faster, or any other artificial intelligence, because it can process a ton of information, like large quantity of information, much faster than humans. I agree. Other points that it listed here are 24/7 availability, no fatigue. That's interesting. Can disagree with that. Pattern recognition at scale, that's interesting because AI can look at very vast data of patterns to find patterns much faster than a human can. That's what we rely computational power for. And it listed a few other points here, but you got the gist of it, right? But I left it at the end, this point right here, where humans, and this is what ChatGPT wrote, where humans are and will remain, I'm not joking, it said, and will remain more productive. Let's see. Value, judgment, and context. Humans decide what matters weigh trade-offs, and apply ethics and priorities in messy real-world context. I agree 100% with this. This one is funny. Physical action and implementation. I can't pick up the phone, meet a partner, build a prototype, or fix a machine. Well, I'm gonna say not yet, but okay, for now, no, they can't. Another one, deep domain creativity and knowledge. Experts with hands-on experience make calls grounded in intuition, which is a keyword here, and lived practice that I can't fully replicate. I love seeing this because, yeah, like there are things that even with all the vast data that we have on the internet, AI cannot replicate, which is basically reasoning, like the unpredictability of humans that cannot be replicated by machines. Just the fact that we are so unpredictable, the way that we think, the way that we act, machines cannot replicate this. And then ChatGPT closes out with this statement. I don't have goals. I can't take autonomous real-world actions, and I can make factual or reasoning errors, which is key here because ChatGPT is saying I can make factual and reasoning errors. I've seen this multiple times. And then, so if more productive, in quotation, means doing specific bounded information work quickly, yes, I can outperform a human in many cases. If it means achieving important real-world outcomes end-to-end, humans are still essential. This is the key. If I can outperform, if it means achieving important real-world outcomes end-to-end, humans are still essential. This is where I think machines will never be able to emulate or replicate humans. Obviously, not even getting better than humans, because there are certain things that only humans can do. I mentioned this in another video that I did, which is the way that humans think, the way that we process thoughts. It's very different than the way that the large language models, which is the backbone of AI, the way that it reasons, the way that it calculates all the probabilities of answers, and it's all based on math. It's all based on fixed calculation. It's very different than our organic thoughts, that the way that our brain organically organize thoughts. So tell me in the comments, were you surprised about this interaction with ChatGPT? Do you think that questions about productivity, human productivity versus machine productivity, do you think that we got good answers here? I want to know, share in the comments. And as always, I appreciate you following this channel. If you haven't yet clicked on subscribe, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, because every single week I'm delivering content for you related to technology, related to time management and productivity, neuroscience of habits, and much, much more. Well, I wish you an amazing and blessed day. I'll see you on our next video.